So great to be back. Yeah. So great to be back. I missed this year very, very much. I flew back to the old country where I was born, Montreal, Canada, where I met with Shlomo. And for my father's unveiling, so this was a very, very not simple kind of a trip, and I brought my wife and all the kleine Hara 5 Kinderlach, and the plane, the jet lag, and for them they can only go so far with the grieving. Like there has to be a vacation also, it was a shtickle roller coaster. And I was actually on a roller coaster. Took my kids to La Ronde, which is an amazing amusement park in Montreal. Went down to New York. Kids got a taste of American Yiddishkeit, American largeness of everything. Largeness. In Israel, you drive for about 20 minutes, all the scenery changes. It's a real unbelievable thing. Different kinds of desert, different kinds of forest, different kinds of hilltops, different kinds of beachfront. We went to a crater this last week in the south. We're stargazing. Up north, Eretz Yisrael has Eretz Yisrael Techsar Carlebach. It's unbelievable. It has everything. America, you drive like 5, 6, 7, 10 hours. It's the same. My kids were like, enjoyed it, and it was sweet, and it's so good to be back. So good. And the last night I was there, I was privileged to officiate a wedding, Mendy Weinrib's wedding. It was, Mendy, no, a little bit, no. Anyway, Mendy, Mendy, no. Ruby and Mendy. Yeah. Mendy's wedding. All the suppers were there. Like Kimat Chak, I don't think was there, but and Skili, right? It was Simchi and Didi were there. Anyway, it was a wedding on a farm in Liberty, New York, and the Kala came down in the tractor. It was a cabal. There's videos going around that you can find. I don't know. It was a gevalt. Mamish or gevalt. It was I think the longest chuppah I ever officiated. It was about 2 hours. The chuppah. It was I never did one that long. Your average chuppah is like maybe 45 minutes. We sang for Yerushalayim we sang like 5 or 6 different songs, each one for like 4 or 5 minutes, like just like the chevra. It was unbelievable. It felt like we were in Meirun. It was really, really unbelievable. A lot of Eretz Yisrael Yidden were there. So it was very intense to start with my father's unveiling, and then end with the wedding, and then all the jet lag b'chulei coming back and everything. But this is so. I want to learn with you. We're going to learn a piece over Elul, and maybe we'll stay in it the whole Elul. Maybe we'll see. It's page 137 in this book. It's a piece about love. It's called Ein Sof Ahava, Infinite Love. I can only imagine, we can only imagine what Reb Shlomo would be telling us now. Shalom Chevra, Eli, great to see you. Rachel, Shalom. We can only imagine what Reb Shlomo would be telling us now in these crazy times. And I'm sure he would be, strong and gibor and everything. But I'm also pretty sure that he would tell us that we have to love even deeper, and just reach deeper and love so much more, right? Like, absolutely. So we're going to learn Reb Shlomo about infinite love. That's our Bezos Hashem. That we can jump into this mikvah of Shlomo's Torah, and I'm bringing in Kedarki, some sources to try to see a little where maybe it was coming from, and sort of do some counterpoint with some traditional texts, etc. Okay, so Shlomo starts off here. Ahava leiv hachayim, love. Now these chapter headings, I don't usually read them because they're Shlomo. This is verbatim. What do you call it? Transcript of Shlomo talking, and he didn't speak with paragraph headings. Whoever the editor was, like put these in. So anyway, my dear friends, when you just start to talk, the moment you open the topic, page 137, the moment that you just begin to speak about ahavas habriyos, about love of Hashem's creations, the moment you begin to just speak about loving Hashem's creations, ahavas Hashem and loving Hashem, just talking about it, you're already touching the heart of the heart of what life is about. And the innermost point of all of existence, of all the universe. Because the gross godly thing in the world you could do is to love someone. Binyamin, can you pass him Masechet Brachos? Like it's the first Gemara. There's like, see this, the golden books, second shelf, first one. No, other side. The set. The set, it says Brachos on it in Rashi script. If you count from where your hand is over to the left, about 7 books. That way, yeah. Brachos, that's it, yeah. It just popped into my head because we were privileged on Thursday night to go stargazing, and I just have to mention it for a second. There's one source that I didn't mention on the bus. We had some great learning on the bus. Everyone should manage to go. It's one of the most unbelievable things. We have to drive 3 hours and go into a crater to see the sky. What world are we living in? And we're living in such a crazy world. What it used to be daily experience everywhere in the world is now like unique, for only, we saw thousands of stars, millions.
It's crazy. Last night I looked. You can't see anything here. You can't see anything.
Like almost anywhere in the world, any normal human populated area.
Right there.
Yeah, I have a friend of a friend who went with like a South American tribe. They took him deep into the Amazon, like way out of everything. And he said on a clear night, he saw pink clouds of star formations in the night. Missing out, and so we don't even know what darkness is, but what starlight is, and it's so good for us. We need it. We need it, and we went to a whole bunch of Torah. I'm just going to say one thing about love that the Gemara in Daf Lamed Bet Lev in Brachas Lamed Bet Amud Bet the Am Yisrael, and this is one of the Haftorahs. I don't remember. I don't think it was last week, but I think it's like one of the Haftorahs of the Nechamas that we're in now. We have those 3 weeks, then we have 7 weeks of consolation, and the Navi says that in the name of Am Yisrael, V'tomer Tzion azavani Hashem, v'Hashem shechefani. Hashem has abandoned us and forgotten us. And the Gemara says it's like a person who's saying, like, somebody who gets married and then divorced and then remarried, at least they still remember their first spouse. But you, Hashem, you left us and forgot us, right? Heavy duty, right? And in a certain way, this is speaking in a certain way. Of course, like we have all had wonderful times this year, but there's a certain degree of feeling abandoned, forgotten that we have to like face and heal. And Reish Lakish says, what is Hashem's answer to this feeling of abandonment? As Hashem says, he says, look at the stars. Biti, my daughter, says Hashem, Yud Bet Mazalot Brati Brakia, I made 12 constellations in the sky. About Kol Mazal Mazal on each one. And then it goes on and says, I made 30 Chayil, and on each Chayil 30 Legion, and on each Legion 30 Rahaton, and on each Rahaton 30 Karton, and each Karton 30 Gistra, and every Gistra 3,650,000 stars. So 30 times 30 times 30 times 30 times 3,650,000. The kulan lo barati eshbi ela bishvileich, and all these are made just for you. Va'at omeret azaftani v'shchachtani, and you say I left you and forgot you, right? Wow. So this is how Reish Lakish, this is how Chazal want us to look at the vastness of the stars, not to feel like, oh, we're just an insignificant nothing. Mamash, the opposite. All of those are made just from how much Hashem loves us. All of them are made just for how much Hashem loves us. Shlomo was saying, when we just even start talking about love, we're getting to the core, the heart of all of existence. The innermost point of the entire universe. And those twinkling stars, they're there to bring us. Learning, I kind of saying it, I'm just so into these Torahs and the stars. We were learning on the bus, like the Gemara says in Chulin Daf Samach Amud Bet, that the stars, that Hashem made the moon, and then Hashem made the moon smaller. And this is like this cataclysmic event that is the root of all negative, all exile, all brokenness, all lack in the world, all smallness. And then the first thing Hashem says to the moon is, I'll give you the stars, I'll comfort you. And the moon is not placated by that. And Hashem says, I'll give you the tzaddikim, they're also called Katan, David HaKatan, Shmuel HaKatan, just like you're the Ma'or HaKatan, the smaller light. And the moon is not placated until Hashem says, okay, bring for me a sacrifice of atonement every Rosh Chodesh for having made the moon smaller. This is like a huge thing. I once told this to somebody who had been through heavy abuse in their childhood, and they really appreciated this Gemara. That Hashem fully, at the end of the day, just says, you know what? I need an atonement for this. I need an atonement. Almost unbelievable. But what's fascinating is that middle step, that Hashem says, take the stars, and the moon says, no, the stars don't do it for me. So why didn't Hashem just say right away, bring for me a sacrifice? Hashem didn't realize that the moon would, Hashem couldn't. As Kani read, there's something real about a partial consolation. A partial consolation. The stars are bringing partial consolation to us. The stars are bringing Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Hi.
Chaya, hi, Leibish. So the stars are bringing us a partial consolation, just like they brought the moon, right? There's something really, really real about that. And we were learning that it's because the stars sing their song, each of them so beautifully. Baran Yachad Koch Boker, the pasuk in Iyov, Lamed Chet, pasuk Zayin, and many other pasukim in Chazal about the song of the spheres of the stars. They're singing, and they're reminding us that we each have a song, and that we fit in. And they're reminding us, just like they're each in their right place, and not one star is missing, like Yeshaya Navi says, Ish lo ne'edar, not one star is missing. It's like in a musical piece, like every note is necessary, right? It's like, had to be there, So somehow this looking at the stars, experiencing the stars, I still feel it like I have it like lightning in my veins. It like went into me. But Hashem should last, and we're going to keep going back there for like a recharge. That the stars, they put into you a sense that you're also necessary, and your song is necessary, and your song fits in to the whole song of all of creation. And maybe this is a little bit in what Reish Lakish is saying in the name of Hashem, that Hashem says, how could you think I abandoned you? This partial consolation, I didn't abandon you. Go look at the stars, and they're going to put into you the starlight of this love of the universe. They're going to put this into you. They're going to put this into you. Not a total consolation, but strength, love. Okay.
I'll be great constellation, Bill. Consolation.
You bet. Woohoo! So, Rabbi Nachman Omer, Shenishpa lanu min hashamayim. Oh, because what's second? Sheharei hadavar haluki biyoter. Why is it so that this is at the heart of everything? Because the most godly thing there is in the world, ulehov nishu, is to love. Rabbi Nachman Omer shenishpal min hashamayim noam elyon. Rabbi Nachman is teaching us that heaven is sending down this noam elyon, this high sweetness. That's what gives life energy to us, to the whole world. How much Hashem loves us. There's nothing sweeter than love. This high sweetness, zorein lamata, flows down. Just that only somebody who has the right sense, the special sense, is able to feel it. And so in a big way, this whole next thing that Shlomo is going to teach us is, how do we build a vessel? And this is really from Rabbi Nachman L'Kutei Moharan. How do we build a vessel for this Noam Elyon, for this divine love to really flow into us, that we should experience it? And a big part of it is when we become loving to others, to our own selves, then we become vessels for this divine love. We're going to learn about this from inside, but let's stay with Shlomo for a little bit longer. And here, right, this introductory part is from what we just learned. Noam Elyon is from Likutei Moharan. It's Torah. I'm just forgetting what it is. Ayin Aleph, I'm pretty sure. Torah 71. Let me see 1 second. Yeah, the Torah 71 in the second section of Likutei Moharan. And then he weaves it together with Torah 34 in the first section of Likutei Moharan. When he says this, Shnei Sugim Shel Ahava Ba'olam, there are two types of love. Rabbi Nachman Mamish says that Shimat in the exact same wording. Torah 33, paragraph 5 in Likutei Moharan. Ki yesh shnei minei ahavot, Rabbi Nachman says. Right, someone's always saying there's two kinds of this, there's two kinds of that. In one place in Likutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman Mamish says, Ki yesh shnei minei ahavot, there are two kinds of love. We're going to learn about this. Yesh ahava shel acharei habriya. There's love that is after creation. V'yesh ahava shel lifnei habriya. And then there's a love from before creation. Mashal, for example, Im ani holech barchov ve'en b'libi lo ahava v'lo sina. I'm walking the street in my heart, of not feeling anything, no love, no hatred. Upitomini red batzuk sheli. Suddenly I see my soulmate. V'libi mitmale b'ahava. My heart gets filled with love. Zot ahava she'achrei habriya. That's a love of after creation. I needed somebody to affect me, because of the experience they had in this world. They awakened this love. But it says in Tilim Peitet Pasuk Gimel, Olam Chesed Yibanen, which means that Hashem bara et olam im ahava. Hashem created the world with love, through love, out of love. Lo sheyesh olam v'Hashem ohevet olam. It's not that there is a world and Hashem loves the world. Zot ahava shel achrei habriya. That's called love of after creation. Because of how much love there was in Hashem's heart, so to speak, he just had to, in order to just put it out there, right? So there's a love that happens. It's called love after creation, and then there's a love of before creation that motivates creation. Now, it's just have so much love. Hashem had so much love, he had to make the world. Now Shlomo is bringing this into our lives, and Rabbi Nachman also does this. Also with children, there's two kinds of love. There's love after they created. Here they are. These are your kids. So you love them. And then there's a love from before they were created. Because of how much love you had in your heart, That's what motivated you bringing these children into the world. That's a example of love before creation. Now, I want to go to Rabbi Nachman for a second, the way he puts it. He says, there is a love, says, the way Rabbi Nachman says a mashal for love from before, there's a love that a father loves his child. I'm reading now from Likutei Moharan, Lamed Gimel, paragraph Hey. Everyone can grasp and understand that love a parent has for the child. But the love that a parent has for their child before the child is ever born or even conceived, that love is not really graspable today, Rabbi Nachman says. We can't, it's hard for us to relate to anything that's not within time and within measurement. This love that motivated creation is something that is a little bit beyond us. It's beyond us because we need to work within limitations. No. But Shlomo doesn't really say that second part, that this is like hard for us or beyond us. He's talking about it like we got to go for this. And for sure, I think that Rabbi Nachman also, this is something you find in many Torahs in Likutei Moharan, that he speaks about how things will be when Mashiach comes, and he says, okay, and so now we've got to already live that way now. It says in a number of places in Likutei Moharan. So even though it's a kind of a consciousness that is a messianic, it's like it's transcendental. It strains the bonds of our emotional, psychological, spiritual capabilities to relate to this, right? Mamish, it's like, you know, it's a big challenge, and you know, this Torah is Torah Lamed Gimel. Rabbi Nachman also says that this love says Yitgaleh Ava Shibadat Shehi Pnimiyut HaTorah. This love that we're talking about is Pnimiyut HaTorah. People ask, like, what is Pnimiyut HaTorah? It's that love that motivated creation. That's the Pnimiyut HaTorah. That's what Rabbi Nachman says, like, very clearly. He says Yitgaleh Ava Shehi Badat. This love that is in consciousness, that's what he's calling the love from before creation, the motivated creation. Shehi Pnimiyut HaTorah. So what's exciting to people about Kabbalah and Pnimiyus and these inner why are we drawn to it like flies to the light? Like, you know, like we're drawn to it. It's so sweet. We're drawn to it because we want to experience, we want to know that love. It's the core of all of creation. The stars have that for us, and the world has blocked it out, the industrial world, the last couple hundred years. Who knows what that's done to this last bunch of generations? But we need these twinklings. Maybe by singing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star," we're giving it to the kids. I don't know, but we need it. We need it badly. And they're still singing their song up there. And we need to try to recognize that that there's a love that we have for our children before they're even born. And this is something also in terms of healing our relationship with our parents. We need to realize our parents brought us into the world deep down. It was because they had so much love that they wanted to give love, and in some unbelievably exalted place, whatever ways that they dropped us physically, figuratively, etc., and all of our issues with our primary caregivers, etc. But like, whatever happened, there's a love. There's a love that's just so much deeper than anything, and it's really, really still there, mamish. And we're being challenged. Like, you know, October 7th happened. Kanire. We're in the month of love. Ani l'dodi v'dodi li. The Chazal are telling us how to relate to Elo, how to name this month as a Shir Hashirim. I am to my beloved is to me. We have to somehow up our game. This is the month that Hashem revealed His love that was unchanging. That's the 13 attributes of mercy. Hashem, we're saying the Sfardim are already saying it in the Selichot, and soon we'll start Slichas, and the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim are the highest ways that we have within language to express this concept of this love that motivated creation, this highest love that is behind everything. And really every year we're challenged to go there, and Hashem revealed it to Moshe in the month of Elul. It was this month where Yomei Ratzon, this time of Ratzon, which Kabbalistically corresponds to the 13 Midas. This is the time, and it's that love, then that Ratzon, that wantedness, that is the Ratzon, which is the letters Tzinor, that is the pipeline of love, that's just helping us to shed and let go of our self-destructive and generally destructive behavior patterns and thought patterns this month, and get ready for really a new year, B'ezras Hashem, a ge'ulatik year. And we're being challenged to up our game a little bit, to reach deep and scoop out some of this love and give it out. We're being challenged really, really, really strongly, I think. And so then Rav Shlomo says very fiery words. Ish ve'isha shemevim yeladim ve'ein b'neihem ahava. A man and a woman who bring children to the world and they're not loving, there isn't a loving relationship between the parents, then what happens is that in that lack, it gets filled with anger, Himalayan kas. They're just shepherding each other and hurting each other. Because deep down they know they're somehow missing the essence, they're missing the point. Because the essence and the root of all creation is only love, is only through love. This is the deepest tshuva. To reset our love, our love quotient, our love. What's the right term for that? We have to reset our
Ahavameters.
Ahavameters. To reset it, and this includes loving ourselves. It's not real loving if we're loving for everybody except our own selves. We've got to. Rabbi Nachman says in the fourth Torah, in the second section of the Imran, we have to love ourselves out of a sense of fear of Hashem. This unbelievable idea, Shalom Shalom, that right. How do you begin to love yourself? There needs to be that I have a sense that Hashem is commanding me to love myself. Right? It's not just if I don't feel love for myself, how do I start loving myself? How do I start having compassion for myself if I don't have compassion for myself? There's got to be this mitzvah. It's got to be, you know what? Hashem is telling you to love yourself. Don't try and figure out how or why you deserve or don't deserve, because you may be so used to they're so used to figuring out how you don't deserve. It's got to be just, it's a mitzvah. That's it. It's a mitzvah and that's it. Right? And yet, doing that work directly on ourselves is very hard. If you look in Torah, Reish Pei Bet, the Torah of the Nekuda Tova and Likutei Moharan, it begins with finding the good point in others, and only then does Rabbi Nachman talk about finding the good point in yourself. There are a lot of times it needs to start with the outside, and it's not as Shlomo is going to teach us now. This next piece is so deep. This Inyan of refuah, that when we can become the pipeline of love for others, and the love flows through us, it cleans us out and heals us, and helps us to be able to love ourselves as well, right? That when we're becoming vessels for that Noam Elyon that we're learning about, that high sweetness. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a proverb: "Love thy neighbor as thyself."
Mm-hmm.
And we're told that how could you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself first?
That's right. Exactly. Kamocha. Exactly. And so there's this. So now Shlomo's going to say this over from Avraham Avinu. We're going to learn this deeply now, B'ezrat Hashem. V'achshav pischu sha'ar lev. Now open your hearts. Open your hearts. HaKadosh Baruch Hu karat brit im Avraham Avinu. Hashem made a covenant with Avraham. The Avraham Avinu malet atzmo. Avraham Avinu did a circumcision. He was old, 99. The third day after, he had tremendous pain. So Hashem took the sun out of its sheath, so to speak, like the sheath of a sword. He made it super hot out, like we've been having that, so that there wouldn't be too many guests coming by. Because Avraham Avinu was the first person. The Rambam is speaking about this in the 14th chapter of Perek Avel, of Hilchos Avel, that Avraham Avinu set up his tent specifically in between, along the way. It was the first travel stop in the world ever. It used to be you're traveling, you're alone. The Yiddishkeit began that with somebody saying, when you're traveling, you're not alone. I'm here. There's a place to go. There's love. There's somebody's with you on your way. Somebody's with you on your way. Incredible. And when Shlomo would sing, "I'm on my way to Canaan land." I'm on my way to Canaan land. He changed the words. He said, "No, wait. My way? No. I'm on your way to Canaan land. I'm with you on your way." Incredible. This is what we're talking about being the pipeline of love, being that starlight, that partial consolation that you're not alone. And until Mashiach comes, you only have a complete consolation. But that togetherness, that love from before creation. So Hashem made this bris with Abraham and Avram, and then he made it hot so they wouldn't bother him with the guests, because Avram's place was always filled with guests. But Avram Avinu couldn't live without having guests. He sent out his servants to find guests, and they didn't find anybody. So Hashem sent down 3 angels. We need to understand. Avram Avinu all his life he's bringing in guests all the time. There were thousands and thousands of about Torah lo maskira. We don't get one story of human guests. That's interesting. We don't get one single story in the Chumash of a regular guest. The Dafka Khan Sharachim Hem Malachim. When the guests are mamish angels, this is where we get the story. They didn't even need to eat at all. The Gemara says, they pretended to eat. Everyone was busy fussing over them. They weren't even hungry. But Dafka Khan, Torah Maskirat, so we get this story. What's going on? El Habiyur who's there. This is the explanation. Avram Avinu bebrit im Hashem. It became so godly. Avram Avinu, after making the bris milah, went so deeply into a connection with Hashem, became so godly that his love was really reaching this messianic level, this very difficult to grasp level of love, like the love a parent has for their children before they're even conceived. this ability that we have within us, because our souls are a piece of Hashem. So we have in us also, we need to unlock it, but we have in us also that same motivation of all of creation, of Olam Chesed Yibaneh, that to love so much, I just need someone to give that love to, right?
Does chesed equal love?
Yeah, or giving.
I could do it
Ahava.
because I
Right.
from the rational,
Right.
told be nice.
Right,
So I
it's
can be nice.
an act of chesed.
Sharon.
Mm-hmm. Oftentimes it's like translated as loving kindness, chesed. It's not just giving, like a robot can't do chesed. It can give, but it's not called, it's doing chesed, understand? The love is part of it. It's loving kindness. It is related to action, chesed. It's an expansiveness, a giving. But it's a loving kindness. It's acts of loving kindness. It's not gemilut chasadim, right? Lasot chesed. It's not, right? It's not just the mechanical thing of the coin was in my pocket and now it's in your pocket. It's right. It's chesed. Yeah, so that's the idea that I'm saying, right? That's what this idea of Olam Chesed Yibaneh means. This thing that the world is an expression of expansive loving kindness, motivated that what's underneath it is love. That's what Shlomo is saying. That's what I think the pshat in that pasuk is, and what is a good question because it's important to understand the words exactly. Yeah, but I think it's a very important thing. A robot can't do chesed. A robot can give. It can do netina. Netina can do. Chesed can't do. Chesed is only an neshama can do chesed, or Hashem. An animal also, like it's in other words, okay. You have the chasidah, but it's only called that as a reflection of human chesed. It's a long story there. Okay, I won't get to right now. Okay. So Hashem sends him angels. Why? El Habir Huzer. The explanation is like this. It didn't need to see someone to make him be filled with love. That's love from after creation. He was filled with love the same way Hashem was before creating the world. He just had to do good. He wasn't on the kind of a level that only if you see someone, good to see you, that only if you see someone you love them. Looking for someone to love, right? I got so much love in me, I just need somebody to love. Isn't that a song also?
A good song.
Yeah, fine. He was looking for poor people, for somebody. The covenant Hashem made with Noach was that the world will continue to exist, right? There won't be another flood. Noach lo haya ichpat kama anashim yamutu v'kama yichyu Noach. Didn't matter how many people will live or die. The main thing is just be some people left in the world. The world should just continue to exist. The day will come that the whole world will actually be healed. The day will come when the world will be fixed. Not just the world will continue to exist. The world will be healed, the world will be fixed. Now here's where it gets to the deepest of the deep. The Gemara says that Hashem sent these angels in order to heal Avraham. We all need such refuah right now. We all need such refuah. And how do we find refuah before the great refuah, right? How do we find that partial consolation? Shalom, Judy. Just gonna change the settings. How are you? Great to see you. Look at tell. So the Gemara says he sent them to Abraham in order to heal him. Kolomar, Kadosh Baruch Hu ba'al galot Avraham Avinu et soda refuah. He's coming to reveal to Avraham Avinu the secret of healing, right? And again, it's a healing that is using some of this love from the great future, but it's not yet a total, it's a partial consolation, right? Sod harafuah hu kamo briat haolam. The secret of healing is like the creation of the world. Im rotzim l'rapem ishahu tzarich lehovato kol kach b'vchinat ahava shelifnei habriah. If you want to heal someone, you have to love them so much, like the love that was before creation. Now, what's Shlomo telling us here? Right? Who was doing the loving in this story? Right? Hashem. There's Hashem doing loving to Abraham, and there's Abraham doing the loving to the people, right? What he thought at first were people, the Malachim, right? And what Shlomo's in effect telling us is that because Abraham learned through the Bris Milah, through all of his work, to dig so deeply, and we're being, I think, challenged to try to dig deeper in our own loving also. Abraham learned to love so deeply, so that made him into a vessel to receive this love from Hashem, which would then heal him. Right? How do I know that Hashem? Right.
Slowly.
Okay. Okay, because what's
Has to penetrate.
yeah, like what's going on? You could picture it, and then I'll give you an image. Right? Here's Abraham sitting here, right, and he's emanating this love out. Hashem made it so hot that nobody was there, right? And he's emanating this love out. Send me someone, till Hashem created these angels to send to him, right? And that's the story that we get of Hachnasas Orchim, because this was Abraham at the top of his game, so to speak. This is his his triple double. This is okay. This is Avina's getting past the love of this world and getting in tune with the love that motivated creation. The same way Hashem had so much love that he made the world, Avraham had so much love that Hashem sent him some malachim to give to, because he wasn't just that he saw people and felt, I need to love these people and give them. It was he just had so much love, he just had to love. So Avraham became living. He unlocked within his soul, and in so doing unlocked it for all of us, his grandchildren. It's in us, this ability to love before there's even anybody there to receive it, to love so much, the stars just twinkle, just send their light, just not just because there's somebody there looking, right? They're singing.
Is it a primordial love?
Yeah, it's pre-creation, if that's what primordial means. It's olam chesed yibarech, the love that motivates creation. Which Rabbi Nachman taught us, this is something that strains our ability to even conceive of. Our minds can't fully wrap ourselves around, but our hearts understand this. That the stars are shining down love, that the world was created out of love. We know this deeply, and when we get upset at each other, when we're missing that love, like you said before, there's a real lack of. We know somehow the life is supposed to be filled with this, and there's this whole work of transforming ourselves, like Avraham Avinu did over his life, until finally with the Bris Milah, he fully kind of got there to be living like that. In a certain way, we. Right before 120, right before we leave this world, if we're hopefully, somewhat conscious and everything, it can be, we want to be able to look back and not feel like it's easy.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I got to shut it off.
It's okay. That I might feel like I had so much opportunity to love in my life and I didn't do it. Right? We don't want to feel that way, right? We want to get that transcendent consciousness even now. This is like shuv yom echad lifnei motcha. Not to be morbid or anything, but the Chazal say in Pirkei Avos, do tshuva one day before you die. What does that mean? One day before you die? Who knows what's chas v'shalom, etc. But could be any day. But it means to have that consciousness, because that's the other side where we kind of leave the world. Is where we that if we can allow ourselves to think about it in a positive sense, in a motivating sense, to use the time that we have here, that it is a massive chesed opportunity, so to speak. All of life. There's so much loving that we could be doing. There's so many people who we just get a phone call from us, et cetera, et cetera. There's so much of a whole different kind of orientation, a whole different way of living that we could be doing. And this is Elul, when we can bring this love into ourselves, then that's what helps us to let go of behavior patterns, destructive things, and really embrace a new year. That's the gift. That's the love of this month. That's this loving month. Anila dodi v'dodi. And so when Avram Avinu, so the refuah comes when you know that you're loved like that, right? When someone loves you like that, it's a love that is like from before you were born, from before you were even conceived, and just loving you like the way Hashem loved before creation, loved Am Yisrael before we even existed. It's also Rabbi Nachman says that in that same Torah, the love that was between Hashem and Am Yisrael, lifnei habriya, before creation. When we're loved like that, that's where healing comes from. That's refuah. And so that difficult statement that I'm now finally circling back to, that I was asked to repeat before, is that when Avraham was putting out this love like that, that's what made him able to receive Hashem's love of him. That was like that, right?
I understood it the other way.
Oh, okay.
But that's why I'm glad you're repeating it.
Yeah.
Because I thought that it was because of that incredible love from Hashem,
Mm-hmm.
He gave him the wings and the
Right.
ability to make himself the kli,
Mm.
to receive more.
Maybe you could learn it that way too, yeah.
I'm probably wrong, but it's just
No. I think it's there's these kinds of things are very hard to nail down. I mean, like Dodi Li Vani Lo is also there's two psukim in Shir Hashirim. There's in Perek Bet there's Dodi Li Vani Lo Haroeh B'Shoshanim, and in Perek Gimel there's Ani Le Dodi V'Dodi Li. It starts with us. It starts with Hashem. This is like one of the deepest secrets out there. Like, is it because I made the kli? Is it because Hashem did it for me? Like, right. Who made? Who, etc. But we don't have to try to figure it out,
Is the avoda
Yeah.
practically
Yeah.
to start giving love so that we can feel more of Hashem's love, or to work on believing and letting ourselves feel the love of Hashem.
Right. I'll tell you how Rabbi Nachman puts it in one place. This is Torah 71, the Torah of the Noam Elyon, which Rabbi Nachman, which Reb Shlomo began with, was this idea that there's this high sweetness, right? That's how he started off. Rabbi Nachman mentioned Yishpal lanu min hashamayim Noam Elyon, and we just need to make the way Reb Shlomo put it is only somebody who has a special sense can feel it. What does that mean to have that special sense? And then really, he's talking, I think, about mamish this Torah 71, Likutim Moharan, second section, like about 5 or 6 paragraphs in. Rabbi Nachman says, "Noam halyon shofei tamid." This high sweetness, this love, it's constantly flowing. Shofei tamid. Aval tzrichim kli lekabel al yado shefa noam elyon. We need a vessel to receive this shefa of the Noam ha'elyon, of this high sweetness. We need a vessel. So it's not I'm creating the love. It's not I'm making it happen. It's happening. I just need a vessel. I'll tell you a analogy I heard from Dr. Morty Shizgal, who I just saw in Montreal, Baruch Hashem. I just saw Morty, and he sends his Shalom Aleichem. So Morty Shizgal. Morty, Dr. Morty, yeah, remember? Morty Shizgal, saying this is his analogy, is that he says outer space, now we're talking about moonlight, outer space is filled with light, of sunlight. It looks black, but the moment you have a moon, it's shining, right? The moment there's a vessel, really that's filled, the light, at least near Earth, is filled with sunlight. The outer space. When we look at it, it looks black at night, only because there's nothing to reflect it. The moment you have a moon there, it not just that the moon is shining, it's showing you that actually all of that space is filled with light, right? So too, this is also, we didn't really get into this right now, but there's a teaching from the Alter Rebbe that V'ahavta l'recha kamocha is a kli for V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. Loving your fellow is a vessel for loving God. That sometimes we having trouble, and this is another part of what this is about in this particular year, to me anyway. Someone's not speaking about this here, but to me, that with everything that we've seen happen, it's hard not to feel a little bit upset with Hashem about everything that's going on. How do we love Hashem within all of this? And so part of it is that when we're loving each other, that becomes a vessel for the light of loving Hashem. Just like the moon becomes a vessel that really there is love of Hashem. Our soul is still singing. Our soul is still loving Hashem. It was Rav Kook's Yahrzeit on Friday, and Gimel Elul. So we're still in the afterglow, and there's a teaching from Rav Kook that my friend Eliav Fry put on his son's bar mitzvah bencher, on the front of the bar mitzvah bencher. An unbelievable teaching. The Rav Kook said, you only really begin to daven when you realize that your soul is always davening. And that when you daven, you're just letting out some of what you're always doing to come into your mouth and into your... Amazing. That's like this Noam Elyon Shofea Tamid. There's this light, this high sweetness, this sunlight that's filling outer space. There's this light of the love of Hashem that is Shofea Tamid, constantly there. We need to make a vessel for it. And so to try and theologically figure things out is, especially this year, unbelievably difficult. To try and, find it, a big way that we can find it again is loving others and being there for each other at this time. And within that, it becomes a vessel, not in the way that the mind can understand, but in the way the heart can experience. It becomes a vessel for the love of Hashem, that love of Hashem is back again. So Rabbi Nachman says, Noam Elyon Shafea Tamid, aval tzrichim kli lekabel yado shefa Noam Elyon. We just need a vessel to receive this shefa, this flow. V'da she'al yedei tzedakah naseh hakli lekabel yada min Noam Elyon shal huvin derechim busa. That when we do charity, and charity is, there's tzedakah baguf, there's tzedakah b'mamon, there's tzedakah is a very catch-all term. Anytime we're able to be giving and loving, and like we say in the Daving, Aseiman Utzedakah v'chesed, we can it forms a kli to receive through that kli. Nasa kli lekabel al yada minom ha'yon. What do we receive? Shalhuvin derechimuta, flames of love. Amazing. Flames of love. That when we really are really doing tzedakah, not just because we're a nice guy, we're doing tzedakah, we're pushing ourselves and really getting beyond ourselves and really trying to find that love from before creation. And he says this unbelievable thing. Tzedakah means that your heart starts to become giving. Oh, that's my phone. Sorry. Your heart starts to become giving. Your heart starts to become giving. And when that happens, Niftach, there is opened in your heart, Shavilin de Liba. This is this incredible term from Rabbeinu. And this is what I think Reb Shlomo's mom is talking about. Pathways of the heart. Same way the stars each have like these very particular pathways, and the planets are moving, and there are all these very a shvil. A shvil is different from a derech or a nativ or a rachov. Shvil is a less formal, a path, you know. Shvilim de liba. When I start to do tzedakah, what opens up within me is suddenly a sense, all of these particular ways. The moment that I start to become a giving person again, it opens up within me that, wow, you know, this person, it's their, happy birthday, right? Frida, happy birthday. And this, and oh, it's good. Yeah, it's that. And then suddenly you remember, like, and you know, all the particular little things that you could do. Henny Machlis, that's all, used to write her children little notes all the time and like put them under the pillow. You know what it would be, what it does when you give people you love little notes, you know. Suddenly there are these pathways of the heart. When the vessel for the shalhuvin derichimusa, for these flames of love, are these little shvilim de liba, these pathways of the heart. It's an amazing term from Rabbi Nachman. And those pathways of the heart become the vessel. Those little capillaries, those little things that make circulation, right? Kanire, you know, they didn't know until like maybe 300-400 years ago that the veins and the arteries are actually connected. I think that I've read about this. So somebody discovered these incredibly tiny veins, the capillaries that connect up the two. These little shvilim, these little things, these that make everything somehow flow again. That make life okay. This is what we have to try to find on in Elul. Like Avraham Avinu was washing their feet, and you know, can I make you some milk? And then would you like some butter? Can I let some tongue? You know, all these things. Yeah.
The capillaries is what the whole thing is all about. That's the whole point of the whole system. It's for the capillaries. We're not even aware of them.
We don't even, yeah. No, it's like, it's really, so we have to be, on the one hand, we have to be so much bigger and we have to be so much smaller. We have to be, to get through this time, you know, like it's so beyond. Mamish so beyond. That, yeah. Yeah.
Avram was already in the right place to give chesed, and he don't give chesed. What changed between then and the threats?
Oh, so this is what he's saying, that up until then, he would, it was still more related to this world. It was a post-creation love. Of course, Avraham Avinu always had, to some degree, this transcendent love also, like we all have it. It's within our soul, the piece of Hashem, this love from before creation. But most of the time, he reached like a new level with the Bris Milah. That's why the Torah tells us the story of Hashem creating people for him to give love to. That's the story that we get of Avraham Avinu, of all the stories, because the other ones are still a little bit like within creation, like post-creation. Because all the love that happens post-creation is also very good and very special. But the love that brings the healing all the way, this Noam Elyon, this love that is at the heart of all of creation, this infinite love, it's a challenge to reach it. It's a challenge to reach it, even for Avraham Avinu. But I think the idea being that Avraham Avinu opened this up for all of Am Yisrael, for all of his descendants. So it's easier for us than it was for him now, Baruch Hashem. But it's still a challenge. I mean, the way Rabbi Nachum was speaking about it is like we can barely grasp what this is. But Kanireh, Rabbi Shlomo is telling us, can barely grasp what this is. It's true, but you can do it. You can do it. And that by having this attitude of getting out of ourselves, out of our self-pity, out of our critique, frustration, anger with Hashem over everything that's going on, out of the confusion and into how can I be of service? How can I really love? How can I, and dig deep enough that that question becomes not just a practical question, but a compulsion, of a good compulsion, a compulsion that is in harmony with and is a little echo and a little piece of the, so to speak, compulsion of Hashem creating the world. Nis'ave, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu's Nis'ave dira b'tachtoinim. Hashem had this desire to dwell in the lower regions, to give love, and like the Alter Rebbe said, of a kasha, of a taiva, frekmenish can kashas. I can't have a kasha on a taiva. Hashem just wanted to give, and we can't ask about that. We can't try to understand that. That we can experience it a little bit. We can experience it a little bit, and really, just to tie it a little further into our year this year, there's a midrash that the Ishbitzer is bringing in Parshas Lech Lecha, that it says, it's a famous midrash that Hashem saw, that Abraham saw a bira doleket. He saw a bira kanire means like a palace that was burning, right? Now, so, and then he asked, who is the Baal Habira? Who is the owner of this palace? That's the analogy that the Midrash brings for Hashem, for Avram, starting to ask who is the creator of the world. Now, some Mefarshim learn Bira Doleket means a shining palace, Doleket, like shining. But some learn burning, like not doing well, this burning world. And who's behind this, right? This is an incredible thing. And so the Ishbitzer says, Heitzitz Allah balabira, and then what does the Medrash say? That the Heitzitz Allah balabira, the owner, the master of the palace, looked at him, and that was Avram's. That's the analogy. That's the metaphor of Avram finding Hashem. That the Baal Habira looked at him, and so the Ishbitzer says, Kafia nireh hayalo lichtov heitzitz elav, to him, velo alav. It's written with an ayin. Heitzitz alav. When he was looking at his generation, there was a very difficult generation that had been the generation of, recently the generation of the Tower of Babel, Dor Haflaga. That's called the burning palace. It was like wondrous to him. And he was thundering in his soul. Mi bara ela, who made this confusing, mixed up world? Sound familiar? Yes. Who made this confusing mixed up world? The Babel, the Tower of Babel, the beginning of communication breakdown and so on. And since it feels like we're talking different languages, it's so heavy what's going on in the world. A genocide, what does that word mean? What's going on? What is going on? Does anybody understand anything? Like, it's crazy, right? And the Hitzitz, Allah balabirahinu, what does it mean Hashem shined upon him? Allah, or looked on him instead of at him. That you see on your own that to the world, nobody's asking this question. Nobody else is wondering who did this. And it's only in your eyes that this is a wonder. From the thundering that you have in your heart, that itself, you can recognize that there certainly is a creator. Hasovel kol almin, who can handle, can suffer through, can hold all of reality, umemale kol almin, and fills all of the world. And it's He who awakened your heart and your soul to this. V'zelashon alav, on Him, hainu al kushiyato, on His question itself. Shezeh be'atzmohu terutz maspik lefanav. The fact that you have the question is itself enough of an answer. How much unbelievable. That to me, part of what he's saying over here is not just the fact that you have some inner sense of justice that is being broken. So where does that inner sense of justice come? It must be coming from Hashem. But even further than that, Hitzitz alav, and if I remember correctly, I didn't open it today, but the Beis Yaakov, his son, takes this further. Hitzitz shines upon him means, you notice that things are problematic. So you be the solution. You be the solution. You live the chesed. Right? This is what Avraham Avinu, what did he do? Right? He opened up, once he found this Baal Habira, once this happened, what did he do? He became this massive source of chesed for everyone in the world, right? That's what he did, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we can learn from here is, we can take from this is the big chizuk that Avraham Avinu's beginning, his first thing, was to feel what a confusing, burning, difficult reality. And then Hashem shined upon that question. Deep within that question is an answer. And then this motivated him to be more loving, to do more tzedakah, to open up the shvilin, the liba, these pathways in the heart. The moment we orient ourselves more towards giving, then we'll wake up and recognize more and more chesed opportunities. It is not going to take until 5 minutes before 120 for us to recognize, to realize there is so much chesed opportunity, even so. And B'ezrat Hashem, we'll be able to be a vessel for this, and through that comes tremendous, tremendous healing that somehow, even within this difficulty, and Am Yisrael has been through, I dare say, things even harder than this. Am Yisrael has been through and survived and thrived, and so we can do this. But we're being asked to up our game, and Ani Ledodi V'Dodi Li, make it a month of love. Mamish, and that's what's going to help us do tshuva and really change and have a better year next year. But that's even in small ways, and find those small things, and through that, by emanating out, we'll be able to receive Hashem's love of us. Comes through the stars, comes through everything. Be able to receive and feel that we're loved beyond, and we'll be able to have refuah even within this world as it is. Chaim l'chaim, we should see the Geula Shleim. Chaim l'chaim. Questions, thoughts? Yes. Yeah.
Today, there's no other place I'm gonna be.
Oh, Baruch Hashem, happy birthday! Eze Yofi, thank you, Frida. There's also nowhere else I'd rather be. It's so beautiful to learn. Such a schus to learn of Shlomo and all the Rebbes and sit in such a beautiful, in Judy's home, and your Shleimir HaKodesh. Schus niflat, and incredible. It's beautiful. Baruch Hashem. Chaim.